Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the show. Episode 447, June 26, 2025. This is the Bader Show with Mark Bader, and I'm excited about today's guest. He's a 2023 world champion, 2024 world bronze medalist, two-time NCAA champion, age group. He's done all kinds of stuff. It is Vito Arujau, also known as Vito. Vito, how you doing today, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
All right, and this is the no-shave Vito I'm seeing. It's the longest I've ever seen your beard.
Yeah, I got a little lazy. It's been growing a little bit.
That's all right. It's okay to be lazy. Man, I guess the freshest thing, right, just over the weekend was Final X, and I didn't see you there, so I'm guessing you were in New York or maybe in the crowd, but I didn't see you at all. So I'm guessing you weren't there, but just initial thoughts on the weekend, anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, crazy couple of matches. Obviously, some of the things that stood out to me is just, this really is kind of, and I mean, you see it every kind of cycle, but it's kind of like a changing of the guards where you see we don't have Kyle on the team, we don't have Taylor, we don't have Burrows, so it's a whole kind of new sort of scene, new face. So a lot of young guys, a lot of up and coming talent. So it's really exciting to see, kind of how we're gonna perform come World Championships.
Yeah, and obviously you and Yanni are as tight as can be, and it didn't go his way this weekend. But maybe just an assessment of that series, and you got to give credit to PJ because he wrestled amazing.
Yeah, PJ definitely wrestled a very tough 3 matches. Jan just, lost. That's kind of part of the sport is just, no matter where you are in your career, what you've done, your accomplishments of last year don't exactly do anything for you today. So every match is a battle, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and that's just kind of how it is. So,
yep.
I know Jan very, very well, so he'll, obviously take a step back, look at what's going on, look where he needs to make improvements, and he'll be back and he'll be better than ever.
I love it. And then was anything stand aside from that, maybe anything stand out or anybody really impress you, in your eyes?
I mean, yeah, there were definitely a bunch of really, really, some absolute dog fights, some just technical, dominance. I was impressed with, Spencer just putting on a good show of just good wrestling. I was really impressed with David. David, I think shocked a lot of people with his performance. Just put on display like he knows wrestling. He knows his strengths. He knows how to lean into them. I think he's been steadily improving kind of every year. So, I think this is definitely a point where he's kind of showing himself to he's finally pulling ahead, of the pack. Oh my God, that the 125 kilo match was insane.
Insane.
Wow. I was thinking about it while I was watching it at home. When I wrestled in Final X in Stillwater, when I wrestled Thomas Gilman at 57 kilos, I got teched my first match, and I don't think I put up a point. I think I lost 10-0.
Yeah. And
I just remember being like going into the second match, just like, wow, all right, so there's not really anything I can do worse, So it's kind of like, I don't know, I should probably just throw the kitchen sink at him. I don't know. Like what I just did not. So let's change it up. Let's see what adjustments we can make. And, obviously Gilman was kind of my gate from going to Worlds for a couple of years there. Mm-hmm. But, he, I ended up in that second match opening up a whole lot and trying to put on a lot of offense. And I still got teched, but I put up 4 points,
Mm-hmm.
So I think he wrestled really well. But it's insane because I know how damaging that can be to get teched. And then I mean, you saw it with PJ, you saw it with a couple of the guys where, you're getting blown out and then coming back and being able to be like, no, like I can still do this is a really insane thing. And super impressive.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's you learn a lot going through a process like that and losing big and having to come back and step back out on the mat. So, okay, that's Final X. Man, let's get to you, right? Like we last saw you, you haven't competed since Worlds, right? In 2024, you take a bronze. You had this long layoff. Walk me through that. Obviously there's an injury. We're delaying Final X, but had you planned on competing throughout that? And yeah, what's the story here?
Yeah, I guess, I wrestled at Worlds, and obviously I had gotten injured there with my hand. Was the main thing that was kind of driving me, and I knew I was going to need to get surgery right after Worlds, just because it was basically hanging on by.
This was a finger that kept
if
getting
I
dislocated,
squeezed too hard
right?
with my left hand, I would dislocate. Yeah, my finger. But so after that, I had to take some time off. Obviously to like let it heal, and then I had to do PT with the fact that I hadn't used my hand in a long time, and then some other complications arose where my back got messed up because I hadn't used like one side of I hadn't used my arm basically for anything, my hand for anything, so it kind of like messed up with my back a little bit. So then I ended up getting hurt in my spine again. Slipped another disc. So, I've kind of, I guess these past couple of years, I never really had too many injuries. And then obviously I had, between my senior year of college last year and this year, was kind of the most injury filled time of my career. So it's been something that I haven't really ever had to deal with. And then, learning how to, come out the opposite end and still be able to compete at a high level. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to wrestle. It really is. So just trying to now kind of get my feet under me, and obviously I'm back to training, and I'm trying to get ready to wrestle. And I decided to take the time off because I hadn't been able to train really coming back from my injuries, and I just really started training seriously. Come in and maybe like hit a couple shots, but like I couldn't really do a whole lot for the first couple months of this year. So, but I feel like my training is going well now. It's finally starting to gain some traction. I'm starting to see my conditioning go up, my strength go up. My lifting numbers, my just scoring points. I feel confident I'll be able to make a full rebound from this. But yeah, it's definitely been a little touch and go here and there. Definitely a difficult kind of overall, but just trying to get back to doing the thing that I love doing.
Yeah, I remember after the 2024 Worlds, in your interview, you're like, man, I trained for 4 weeks for this. And I think it was like you got 4 weeks to train for the trials or Final X, right? Which maybe isn't quite as ideal. Maybe you want more. Like, do you feel like, is that part of the reason you wanted to delay this? Because, hey man, 4 weeks just isn't enough. And I need whatever a full camp is what you need to be physically and mentally prepared.
Yeah, it's just, especially with kind of the older you get, it's pretty hard to just go from doing nothing to competing at the level that I expect myself to compete at. So I need some time to kind of do that again. The process is changing as I'm moving further in my career. So I'm just trying to adjust to whatever's happening. Obviously, the ability to request a delay is something that's kind of if I couldn't do it, if it wasn't a thing, then I wouldn't have done it. But like it was an option, and obviously, like I kind of met the criteria for it. So, I put it in a appeal, and USA Wrestling agreed and said, okay, we'll push it back. And then Jax and me and Bill kind of sat down and made a time, and we were now we're all good wrestling in Fargo.
All right. Man, so you're wrestling Jax Forrest at Fargo. When did Jax kind of first come on your radar, whether it was as a potential opponent or just as there's so many young kids that are really good in this country. When did Jax emerge as you're like, oh, wow, look at this kid. He's good.
I think trials at the World Team Trials for the non-Olympic Worlds, where I wrestled Blaze in the finals. He did some good stuff in that tournament too. I think he ended up beating, I want to say it was DeSanto. I can't remember, but I remember he had some good results at that tournament as well. So definitely on the radar. He was definitely a possible person that I could have wrestled coming out of that tournament. But yeah, it ended up being Blaze. So I think he's, definitely in that mix, where, obviously, as you can see, he's capable of coming out into the top and getting a spot in the Final X.
Yeah. Did you watch the U.S. Open? I don't remember seeing you there, but there's a lot of people. But did you, were you at home? Did you watch the U.S. Open? If you did, or maybe later, I assume you'd be watching, maybe not. What were your thoughts as you see Jax beat Nashawn and then I think Davino and Gross? It's like, man, this kid's a real deal.
Yeah, he definitely is the real deal. He's definitely tough opponent. The whole high school debate, oh, he's in high school. I think people are gonna start throwing that out the window here pretty soon. Obviously, you see, I wrestled Blaze in the finals last year. I've got Jax this year. Yanni just wrestled PJ. These kids are serious players, and I think older fans definitely remember a couple of years ago as well. You had kids like me and Yanni and Spencer, and we were young at one point too, and also challenging national champs and world champs, and we were also in the mix at that point as well. So he's a valid opponent. He's definitely pretty good, and I'm gonna go out there and wrestle as best I can.
Yeah. Do you feel any difference between being the hunter and being the hunted, right? And what I mean, obviously, is the younger guy. He's the hunter, and the world champ is the hunted. Do you feel a difference in perspective, or are you I'm just Vito, and this is what I'm doing? Doesn't matter if they're older, younger, or supposed to win or supposed to lose. Here I am.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I'll rephrase your question.
Yeah.
You're right. I felt like an underdog for a while there. Especially kind of before I'd won NCAAs for a while there. I thought I was really good, but I always felt like an underdog. No one really counted me to win, right? I beat Fix and RBY at NCAAs, and then I went on to win the world championships, right? And all of a sudden the script switches, right? Where now instead, everybody's trying to dissect what I do. They're trying to come up with game plans to beat me. Whereas before they were just I just go out and beat him, right? He's good, but but now and then I saw it definitely with Crookham, who just had a really good game plan to try to beat me, and did beat me twice. And then but it's all about kind of how you look at it, right? Because if you want to try to separate yourself and distinguish yourself as kind of the best, then it's harder to train to beat someone, right? It's easier to get better, to be motivated when you have a goal that you can kind of chase towards. So, in the same sense, I invite people to try to come up with ways to beat me, because, it's only going to make me better. Even if you do beat me, you've exposed something that I do poorly. And that's going to give me the opportunity to learn and continue to get better. There's only so much I can really do on my own, sitting in the room training, right? So I need to have that competition, and I like it when the when the eyes are on me, when people are trying to see how to beat me. It's like having multiple coaches trying to work on you, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know, I wouldn't quite say I'm the hunted. You know, I'd like to think we're both trying to fight over the same piece of meat. So I'm just gonna, you know, it's not like you know, I'm sure he's young and he has that fire in him and he wants it, and I've felt that same way before. But I still feel that way, and I still have that fire, and I still want it. So I'm also gonna fight for it.
All right. I like it. Both going after that same piece of meat. Um, and regardless of not, if you're both chasing each other, right? In a sense, right? That's what you got to do. And you're both fighting over this piece of meat. So given how unique his style is, right? And it's kind of like, it's a wild card kind of style. Will you watch a little bit of film on him, a ton of film, no film, and I'm guessing Mike or what's the process for coming up with the game plan or approach to this series?
Yeah, no, I've watched some video. Obviously I watched the U.S. Open. Answer your question before. I was at home. I didn't end up going, but yeah, I watched him wrestle. You know, he's got a very unorthodox kind of style, and him. You see him pop up every once in a while. He actually reminds me of like a younger, different version of like Seth Gross, right? Where he's dangerous for sure, and definitely pretty funky, doing some stuff that other people are not even really trying, and it's working, right? So, yeah, definitely a threat. But his typical game plan is I guess, I from what I see, it's like he likes chaos, right? He likes to have these high scoring matches, and he likes to be in these big scrambles, and he likes to come out on top of those. And I think a lot of people are forgetting I also do that. I also have put up high scoring matches, and I also wrestle through multiple positions and chain wrestle and re-attack and put on my own offense. So if it comes to that, where it's like a 18, 16, I've been there, and I'm gonna be confident in those positions. But also, if it's a low scoring match and it's gonna come down to like me losing in the last 10 seconds and I have to score, I'm pretty confident there too. So all around, I feel pretty good going to this match. Obviously, there are things you have to watch out for, as far as not necessarily technique, but I don't want to underestimate him for sure, because that's definitely one way to pretty quickly lose control of the match. But yeah, I'm just focusing on myself, making sure all of my techniques are very crisp and sharp, and yeah, mostly just wrestling into my game plan of trying to control the pace and trying to hold the positions, and just the dominant performance.
Yeah. I want to talk about your preparation and training for this, and Anthony Knox is obviously going to be coming to Cornell, and I believe I saw a couple videos or a video of you training with him. Tell me about training with Anthony and what he brings to the table, and how that helps sharpen you.
Yeah, I mean, first off, Knox brings some good energy into the room.
That's important.
He's a funny guy. He loves being there. He he's like, can we wrestle today? I'm like, yes, please. So that's good, and he's definitely got a very good feel, good technique, and he's kind of as I was saying before, he's always trying to figure out how to beat me, and then I got to figure out how he's doing, and then he's got to try to figure out how to stop what I'm doing, right? And it's a nice progression. So it's it's good to have people in your room who can continue to challenge you, and I think Knox is one of those people, and I'm excited for what he's going to do at the Big Red in the future.
Yeah. Changing topics a little bit, but Ono, right? Masa Ono. Well, a couple things. I'm curious on your thoughts on his match with Spencer Lee a few months back, and your thoughts on him coming to the U.S. and being a part of not the Nittany Lion Club, but like actual Penn State University.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, his match with Spencer was you know, I thought it was a good match. I thought it was lower scoring than I thought it was going to be. But that's kind of what happens when you get two really high level opponents in there, where it's big points and sometimes it's literally just a positional fight, right? It's a game of inches and angles and stuff. So that's what it ended up turning into. Um, as far as him to, move to the U.S. and go to school here, I mean, that's great. The more talent that we can bring into the U.S., I don't mind it. We have guys go and wrestle at countries all the time, right? So, why can't they come here and wrestle as well? We're having, I think, a lot more of those guys from overseas starting to travel to the U.S. a little bit more now. And yeah, I'm all for it. We just had Daichi Takatani here a little bit ago, wrestling with Jan. I had Rei Higuchi come out here before the World Championships in 24. So yeah, good stuff. And if he wants to go to class and get an education too, I mean, what's wrong with that?
For sure. You mentioned like, hey, these people are gunning for me and they're picking me apart and studying me, but it's like having a second coach and I can learn from all this. Like, what did you learn from Ono? Right, he beat you. We all know that. He's really good, technically, physically, mentally, whatever. Any facet that and or others. Like, what did you learn from? How did he help you, right, become a better wrestler?
Sometimes I think the biggest thing was just the perspective of it, right? Obviously, I came off of winning NCAAs, winning Worlds, winning any NCAAs again, and then who thinks that they can just take 3 months off, do nothing, wake up one day, be like, hey, I'm going to train, and then just go and win, right? Who thinks that? It's stupid, right? So,
It sounds like.
so yeah, it's perspective, right? I have to be locked in, and I have to have that fire and that drive if I want to be a world champion again. Because yeah, I did it. I am a world champion, and that can't be taken away from me. But at the same time, it's very, very easy, and I can see now as I'm here, right, to get to a place of contentment, to get to a place of where you stagnate and you stop growing, right? Because time's going to move forward. The next generation is going to come. And if you want to be one of those guys like Kyle, like Jordan, David, Snyder, right? If you want to be those guys who are just on top for a while, that's a whole another level, right? It might be two levels from just being a world champion. Right? So there's more to grow to do, and yeah, just because there was a time where I was the best in the world doesn't mean today I'm going to be best in the world. Tomorrow I'm going to be best in the world, right? It's my choices, that are happening right now that are going to lead to that. So, I got to lock in. I got to live the life that's uncomfortable, that's challenging, that's going to put me in a position where I can compete the best. And, and then there's the technical aspect, right? Of, Ono just kind of picked me apart. He caught my feet.
Yeah.
Caught me lagging. My feet were out of position, picked me apart, got the takedown. And it's funny, right? Because you make one small mistake, you step up a little, you reach a little too far, and that's a 4-point move, right? So, and I know that. I know that the accuracy, the discipline that's required win those super high level matches. And yeah, I just didn't have it. and I wasn't prepared, but it was my fault, So these are all learning moments for me. Obviously, I think I'm still young in my career. I think I still have a couple more years to try to, find out where I can get to, right? So just got to make those adjustments and keep working.
Yeah, as you embark on, trying to win your second world title, obviously you got to get through Jax, right? That's the next thing. But the ultimate goal is to win another world title, and how that might be difficult compared to the first one. I guess I want to compare it to the NCAAs, and was the second one more difficult, or maybe just talk about the different challenges. I know the scenarios were different. You had a shortened season, but the tournament's the tournament, right? And maybe talk me through going through the second one versus the first, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you want to, all of the above, anything else, but yeah.
You're talking about the NCAA tournaments.
Yeah,
yeah,
because you won your second, how that was compared to the first, and now you're attempting to win your second worlds, if there's any parallels.
Yeah. So I mean, the funny part about the second one was people still the underdog, right?
Yeah.
Because I was hurt all year. I took 2 losses on the year. That I was in the same position actually. What was I? I think I was the number 7 seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going into my at the NCAA tournament, and funny enough, I think I was the 7 seed my freshman year too.
Okay. You're 5th or 6th.
So I think that was a funny little callback for me. So yeah, maybe 6. I forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, people thought I had a better chance of winning the first one. But like, I don't know. I had a whole year of getting better, but yeah, no, the injury and stuff was definitely, pretty debilitating. Yeah, the first year that I had won NCAAs was just like, I'd figured something out that I was missing, and that was just kind of getting my mental right, going into matches, my mental approach to the matches, and I had figured that out, and I jumped a level. Something that was, just so rewarding. And I think I jumped a level my senior year as well, but in an aspect where instead of building upon what I had and reaching new heights, I got knocked down. My whole everything collapsed. Right, I was unable to wrestle, and instead of right my ability to concentrate and focus and be creative and win tough matches. Right now, my challenges were, what can you do when you can't wrestle? Right, like who are you if you can't wrestle? Right, like self-image things. Right, so it's a whole different set of challenges, but ultimately made me really learn how to kind of be okay with being uncomfortable. And these are obviously things that I'd known how to do before, but I was fighting an uphill battle, kind of against myself, and then everyone else obviously looking to get me too, right? So,
Fighting everybody.
I think, I think I grew from that experience as well, of just learning how to do with have. It's not going to be perfect all the time. That year that I had, it was pretty perfect. I took 1 loss to Latona that year when I won my first NCAA title, but then, I was pretty healthy, and I got sick a couple times, but like I could wrestle, and then just completely flipped the script the next year, and that really taught me to have hope in the future, right? Like I may be hurt today, but that doesn't mean that it's over. So just because I got hurt doesn't mean I can call it quits for the NCAAs in 2 months.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta just keep doing what I can do today. Keep working towards that goal, even if it's not going to work. Because it didn't for me for Olympic trials. It didn't work. You just have to have hope. That was the thing I learned my senior year. So, combining those two lessons into kind of what I got now. Yeah, I got hurt, but I still have hope. I still, know how to keep training even when I can't. And as well as, I'm now starting to get to a point where I'm feeling physically much more sound, and now I can start implementing all those things that I learned that first time, where I can start to focus on my concentration and my discipline and my creativity on the mat. So I'm really looking forward to this year. I think this will be a good year for me. Obviously, really looking forward to getting out to Fargo. I'm a little upset that I couldn't wrestle at Final X. Obviously, it's a cool event. It's a great atmosphere, but yeah, I got to go to Fargo, which I haven't been to Fargo since my sophomore year of high school. So
Nothing's changed.
It'll be fun.
Nothing's changed
Nothing
in
has
Fargo.
changed.
No, Buffalo Wild Wings is across the street. Taco Bell is right there. Shout out to the Burger King girl. Yeah. It's
yeah.
Stand still in time.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting out there and wrestling again, because it's what I love to do. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I know you got practice in 2 minutes, and you're about 1 minute away, so we'll give you 1 minute to have back to yourself. But man, thanks so much for tuning for calling in and chatting with us today, especially with the short abbreviated show here. But final word, you can say anything you want to say. What you got?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to my wrestle-off on July 14th against Jax Forrest, and really thankful for kind of everything that's been going on, and the ability to compete. So thank you.
Awesome. All right, Vito, appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and have a great practice.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, man. All right, folks, that'll do it. Vito Arujau, world champ, world bronze medalist. We said it before, a couple NCAA titles. He'll be wrestling Jax Forrest July 4th in Fargo, July 14th. Did I say 4th? That's a holiday. July 14th, Fargo, North Dakota, during junior, or what do they ever call it? During Fargo. That's going to be it. Thanks, guys. See y'all. Bye.